Hi YouTube! Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Emily. I am the current overall bikini champion of the SSC, and today we are going to be going over everything summer shredding. So I get a lot of questions about competing in this league and what to expect, and so we're going to go over the most common questions that I get and hopefully provide you a little bit of insight on what to expect going into these shows. Although summer shredding is a younger league, make no mistake, they do it big. It is all amateurs, huge cash prizes, brand sponsorship opportunities, and honestly the best part is just like the community of people that you're gonna meet. Some of the best friendships I've walked away with came out of summer shredding. I will put timestamps down below if you're looking for anything specific on just questions you have about competing, and hopefully I cover it. This video is completely from my perspective as a previous competitor. All the information can also be found, like specific details about the shows, on Summer Shredding's website, and I'll be sure to link that down in the description as well. You can DM me on Instagram if you have any additional questions. I'll put my handle on the screen, as well as you can comment below and I'll get back to everybody with their questions that they have. I'm more than happy to help any competitors preparing to go to this show and just make you feel as calm going into show day as you possibly can. So please feel free to reach out to me directly, and let's get into the video. I have my handy dandy notes on just different topics I get asked about all the time. I will be referring to this as well as the actual summer shredding website as we go through each topic. But the first thing I kind of wanted to do is just like give you an overview of how summer shredding even came to be. So summer shredding started as just a YouTube series that Christian Guzman would do every single year. And so he would put on this YouTube series that followed his own prep, getting ready for shows and getting ready for summer. Then he turned it into an online transformation challenge, which then turned into a in-person like event at the end of the challenge, turned into then a bodybuilding show. If I'm not mistaken, the first bodybuilding show was just transformation and maybe men's physique. And then it went from just one show a year to 2 shows a year. And now we have multiple shows across multiple cities, even 2 different countries, with a now championship and cash prizes, brand sponsorships, the whole shebang. So it's really evolved over the last like 5 years. It's just been, as a spectator, as somebody who's followed Christian and going through his like prep series, it's been cool to see the evolution of this bodybuilding show, and now just like the legs that it has going into this bodybuilding industry. As of this competition year 2024, there are 3 qualifying shows and 1 championship show. So a total of 4 shows this year. In order to qualify for championships, you have to place top 5 in your height class to then go on to compete in the championship show at the end of the year. That's obviously excluding transformation, as transformation is categorized in weight class, like weight loss classes. The shows this year are Houston on July 12th and 13th. There is a second show in Toronto on August 17th. And then a 3rd qualifying show September 13th and 14th. And then finally, championship show in Houston again, November 1st and 2nd. On the show days that have 2 days, the women typically are on the first day and all the men categories go on the second day. If there are any men watching this, be aware that there's tend to be a lot more male competitors than female competitors, and so your show days go very long. So I would just be prepared for that. There's a lot more traction happening across all the female categories in comparison to the male categories, but the specifically men's physique category is huge. It's so competitive. It's like, it baffles me, but just be aware of that. Toronto is the only exception of all these shows that only has it on 1 day. So be aware of that if you plan to do the Toronto show. It's only 1 day. The men and women are not split. Because majority of these shows are all in Houston, I am going to go through what the schedule of events looks like if you are attending any of the Houston shows. All of the details specific to the Toronto show is on Summer Shredding's website. When you register, you get continuous emails from the promoter about where to check in, host hotel, vendors, etc. So everything else I'm going to speak about as if you're going to the Houston shows, since there's 3 of them, and those are always held in the same locations with the same vendors, etc. Okay, so the schedule of events. So first and foremost is athlete check-ins. Athlete check-ins is done at AlphaLand. Once you're checked in, you'll actually be able to work out and spend time at AlphaLand for free. You don't have to pay for a day pass as long as you're wearing your competitor badge. So that's always a nice perk when you compete at the Houston shows, because you get the whole experience. Like, you're not just there doing a bodybuilding show, you actually get to go work out at AlphaLand, have food at Alpha Eats, shop in their retail store, look at the Buff Bunny stuff, the alphalete clothes, Anaka Powers. You know, you get the whole vibe, and it's more than just a gym. You know, the show dates are on Fridays and Saturdays. Your check-in's gonna be on Thursday in the evening time is when they typically schedule it. They provide you with your competitor badge, a lot of different like information about show day, as well as a competitor bag with like a bunch of goodies from the vendors, a lot of free samples and energy drinks and protein bars, so much stuff. And then you also get a t-shirt, a competitor t-shirt. That's about it. Every year they kind of change things up just a little bit, so you might get other things. The other thing that you'll do on the day before your show is your tan. So if you're a female, that means you're getting your first coat of tan on Thursday. On Summer Shredding's website, if you go under 2024 shows, you'll see a tab and select tanning sign up. The tanning company will tell you where your tan is, but they're always at the same host hotel, and that's where they also have the makeup vendor as well. So those are both in the same host hotel that are like 5 to 7 minutes away from AlphaLand, as well as the convention center, which is where your show is held. Just like little tips, I prefer to schedule my tans as late as possible in the evening, because I don't like walking around in my first coat of tan and risk like smudging it or getting water on it or sweating, anything like that. Especially if you're competing in like July and even September, it's hot in Texas. It's hot and it's humid. So if you can try like push your appointment later in the day and maybe do it after check-ins and stuff, pro tip. So you'll get your base coat the night before your show, and then the morning of your show, you go back and get another second coat. Then backstage at your show, they'll have glazing and bikini bite and all the things that you need like right before getting on stage. Okay, continuing down the order of events. So you've checked in on Thursday. You got, say you're a female competitor, you got your tan Thursday night. You've chilled the rest of the night. It's the next morning. You will get your makeup done if you're having it professionally done, or you'll do it yourself and do your hair, blah, blah, blah. Get your second coat of tan, and then you'll head to prejudging. The whole show is held at the Stafford Convention Center, and I loved the Stafford Convention Center, like truly. There was a ton of space for the vendors. There was a huge back room that was like your waiting room as an athlete, so you could be there with the rest of the competitors all hanging out together, or with your team if you have a team. There's a lot of like hallway areas, so you can go and like step out, hang out with your support system or whoever's there to support you. You can go out and walk in and out whenever you want to go and see them and sit with them. The show typically starts at 9, and it's run very efficiently. They have expediters. The show promoter has it extremely organized. So when they tell you you're starting at 9, they are starting at 9. And so you do want to get there on time, because you really don't know how small or big each height class is going to be for each competitor. I get a lot of questions about what the process is like for prejudging as a bikini competitor. most of this could be applied to almost all the categories. I'm going to speak about this from the bikini category perspective, just me as a competitor. So at prejudging, they will line you up with your height class. They give you plenty of time ahead of time to let you know, hey, like you're gonna have to line up soon, get glazed. Then they have you line up in this like one specific area. Then they give you time to pump up. Then you're lined up like off stage waiting for the class ahead of you, and then you'll go on. So if you're there early and you're prepared, they're very organized and communicative, so there's nothing to really stress about. Sometimes at other shows, you're kind of like, waiting to hear when you're going on, and then all of a sudden you're going on and you didn't have a chance to pump up. Like, no, they section it off for you, so you know when you go to each area, okay, I'm getting glazed. Okay, I'm lining up. Okay, now I'm pumping up. Okay, now I'm about to go on stage. So it's super organized. When you do go on stage, typically the order of events would be you go out one by one onto stage, you complete your individual routine, then you'll wait on the side of the stage and hold your pose while the rest of the girls in your class continue to do their individual routine, and then stand on the side with you. Once the whole class has done all of their individuals, they're all waiting in the wings, then you'll be brought out to get comparisons. If your class is extremely large, then that's when they would do a first call out. Otherwise, if your class has like 8 girls, they'll bring you probably all out and do your comparisons right there, move you around. During this comparison round, they'll have you hit your mandatories. So bikini, it's your front pose, and then they'll have you turn to the back, hit your back pose. They do walk you to the back of the stage and hold your back pose. They'll have you turn around, hold your front pose, and then walk it back. So I would be prepared to practice holding your front pose, transition to your back pose, hold your back pose, and practice that walk to the back and walk forward. And that's like pretty much all that they'll do. Prejudging, this is where almost all of the judging is going to be done. This is where most of the decisions are made. When you do come back for finals, they may rejudge a class if they were not totally sure about who a winner was going to be. But this is where like 95% of judging is done, and where they like pick who is going to be awarded where. Once you get through comparisons, they will thank you, dismiss you, and then that's a wrap for your prejudging. So between prejudging and finals, there's usually a couple hours break, maybe like, I don't know, 2 hours before they start back up with finals. They'll let you know. Again, you definitely want to come back when they say finals is going to start, because no matter how big or small the show is, finals will always go faster. Because they do most of their decisions on who's awarded what at prejudging, once it gets to finals, they are just like awarding and pumping out each class. So it'll go a lot faster, so you definitely want to be back on time in case they start going really quick, and like, again, you don't want to miss your class. So you'll go through the same exact process, right, for finals. So when you're waiting, the expediters will tell you like, hey, time to glaze, time to go pump up. Now we're gonna move and wait to go on stage. So then when you go on stage, though, the expediters will tell you what you're going to do. Most likely they'll tell you like, just hit your front pose and then go to the side, or they'll tell you you can do your full routine and then go like stand in the wings on the side of the stage. And then they will award all the competitors in your height class. Again, if they needed to rejudge, they may do a first call out again and rejudge your height class just to confirm who the winners are. And then they will award all of the winners. So the first place of each height class will wait because they're going to come back and compete for the overall of their category. When it comes to the overall, all the first place winners of each height class within your category are going to come back out on stage. They will have you line up, and they're going to have you line up. They do all their comparisons again, same as they did during prejudging. Front pose, transition to back pose, walk to the back, walk to the front. And that's where they're deciding who is like the overall of the full category. Be prepared. This show loves to do pose downs. like loves pose downs. And you won't really see this in other federations for bikini. You'll see it obviously with like men's physique sometimes, mainly like bodybuilding and classic does it, but men's categories. But this show likes to do it for bikini. When I tell you, I wanted to die inside. I'm not good at a pose down. But yeah, definitely be prepared that you'll have to just kind of like pose it and earn it. Another scheduled item is the after bash. So the women compete on Friday, men are on Saturday. Sunday, Alphaland has the whole after bash. They do an after bash as well for the Toronto show. Again, you're gonna have to like get that information from the promoter because obviously it's never in the same place. So I can't really speak on it, but there is an after bash. When it comes to the Texas shows, the after bash is held at Alphaland. All the different vendor sponsorships all have booths. You'll get a chance to meet your different favorite athletes that are like alphalete athletes, Buff Bunny athletes, One Up Nutrition's usually there, Ghost is there. There's just so many different brands that help sponsor this event. So you'll be able to connect and meet with a bunch of people. Obviously you can still, like, you're a competitor, so you can continue to come to Alphaland and you're working out for free, you're meeting with people, and it's just a really awesome experience. So the after bash is a lot of fun. They have like a DJ, they do giveaways. It's a really fun event. Okay, now we're gonna talk about prizes because summer shredding is wild, you guys. Like, they're crazy. Last year they did it huge. This year is they've adjusted like how they're doing everything, but like they pay more than like pro shows in the IFBB, and that is nuts because we're all just a bunch of amateurs. I feel like when you compete at summer shredding, it's obviously so much more than like the money and the brand sponsorships. Like you truly meet some amazing people, and like I have some of the best friends that came out of this show. So the prizes came about after I decided to compete in this league. Last year was the first year they did like some crazy prizes. So it was kind of just like the cherry on top because like the people, like money is going to come and go. Brand sponsorships are going to come and go. But people and the relationships that you make and those friendships, like that's what lasts. That's the impact that lasts. So I really, really hope you choose to compete in this show. Prizes. So they've changed up the prizes. Again, I got this from the website. So if I misspeak, please go to the website. Go to the website, fact check me. If I'm wrong in anything, put it in the comments because obviously I don't want to be like putting bad information out if things have changed since I posted this video. At any of the qualifying shows, so July, Houston, Texas, August, Toronto, Canada, and September back in Houston, Texas. Any of those 3 qualifying shows, overall winners of the category, they'll win a free entry to championships in November. So you won't have to pay for your entry fee. You get a gift card from the top sponsor of the show. You'll also win $1,000 and overall winner apparel. I have like a overall, actually, let me go get it. Hold on. Okay, so what I got was this windbreaker and it says overall bikini. I like cried when I got it. I thought this was so cool. Summer shredding down the arm, it has the logo and everything. It's a really nice windbreaker. And then it has the year that I won, 2023. Because I won the overall in July last year, and then I won the overall at championships at the end of last year in October. Just kidding. So that is the prizes for the qualifying shows. So once you get to the championship show, the prizes are a little bit different. Now at the championship show, how prizes work, the overall winner of the category wins $5,000. They also get this huge overall trophy. They also get a top brand sponsorship with clothing, as well as a supplement sponsorship from one of the top sponsors. They're also qualified to compete for the top 2 overall champions. So We'll go into that in a second. If you are competing in that overall battle and you place second, you'll win $2,000. And if you place third, you'll get $1,000. So even if you don't win the overall, you still have a chance to win some cash, which is just crazy. One other thing that Summer Shredding does is they actually award, out of all the overall winners across all the categories, they will come back and compete to be crowned one of the 2 overall champions. So there's a female overall champion and there's a male overall champion. And when you go on the website, it will give you what you have to prepare for to be considered for that. So you have to win overall in your category. And then you also have to prepare a video to submit as to why you should be basically crowned the overall champion for either women or men. They'll give you prompts of questions that they want you to answer and create that video and just have it prepared. They'll have you give instructions on like how you'll submit those things ahead of time before the show. So just prepared that you're gonna make that going into this championship thinking I'm a winner, I'm an overall winner, and I'm gonna compete to be an overall champion. If you win one of the overall champions, you'll get this really cool champion ring. You win an additional $6,000. They give you like a full content equipment, so like cameras and like the whole shebang. And then they do photo shoots for all the overall winners after the show. I'm pretty sure that's everything. If anything changes, again, just always refer back to the website. Just always refer back. Next on the agenda, where to stay. So again, we're referring to the Houston, Texas shows, right? So they say that it's Houston, Texas, but Alphalete is actually in Missouri City, which is like 45 minutes, an hour away from Houston proper. Be prepared that when you fly in, if you are flying in, that you're going to have to then travel like another additional hour. So when you're looking at the map, there's 3 little towns that are all kind of clustered around each other. So that's Sugar Land, Stafford, and Missouri City. And they're all like within minutes of each other. So you could get away with staying in any of those areas. I prefer Sugar Land. It's really cute. They have this cute little like, I guess like downtown like plaza area. Stafford and Missouri City, I would be more selective about like use Google Maps, like street view. You could stay in any of those 3 areas and it'll take anywhere from like 7 to 15 minutes to get to wherever you need to go across those 3 areas. For example, I stayed in Stafford the first time, and so it was like 5 minutes to the convention center and also 5 minutes to the host hotel to get my makeup and my tan done. It was like 7 minutes to Alphalete, so that was really close. Sugar Land's a little bit farther. It took me like between 10 and 15 minutes, but really not that far. They're like all on top of each other. Getting around those 3 cities is super easy. I'm used to California prices. So when I got my Uber from the airport, I flew into IH and got the Uber all the way to like Sugar Land, Stafford area. I think it was like $50 or something. In California, that would have cost me like $150. So that wasn't bad. And then Ubering around between those like 3 little cities, no matter where you are, if you're going to the convention center or to Alphalete, the Ubers are usually like around $10 per ride. So if you're like trying to budget and figure out how much it's going to cost you, it's around $10 a ride. There are a lot of really like cool new apps that I've been starting to do when I do travel. So obviously you can rent at the airports, but there's also this app called Turo, and I've used it a few times. It is so convenient, like way more convenient than rental cars, because like you have to have a credit card and your driver's license and all these things. Whereas if you do Turo, more affordable usually than like Enterprise and all the rental companies. Super easy to pick up and drop it off. Otherwise, Ubering there's tons of Ubers. Okay, I wanted to go over little like tips and tricks that I jotted down for just competing, coming up to your show and all that kind of stuff. So first and foremost, remember that show day is supposed to be fun. Obviously, we're competitors and we all want to place and do well, but at the end of the day, that kind of stuff's out of our control. Like, you can't control who shows up to the show. You can't control whose day it is that day. There's only so many people that can be awarded. So at the end of the day, it's really important that like this experience is supposed to be fun, showing off the hard work that you did for weeks on end. And so just remember that no matter what, regardless of the placings or how you do, this is supposed to be an experience that you enjoy. So what we can control is how we perceive the experience and how we make the most out of that day. So connect with other competitors, you know, be friendly, be like excited to be there, encourage one another, because I've truly made like some of the best friends out of Summer Shredding's community that are like my lifelongers, like lifelong, they're stuck with me kind of people. Even though we live all across the country, I just got goosebumps. Even though we live all across the country, like we are continuously like rooting for each other and there for each other and understand one another and understand what each of us want for ourselves and our future and like where our character is. Because at the end of the day, when you compete in bodybuilding, more than likely you're a really hard-working individual who demands a high standard from themselves and from the people around them, and that's who you want to connect with, right? So make friends, enjoy the freaking day, hype each other up, and enjoy it. Another little tip that I like to do before I get on stage, it's really easy to like get nervous before you're gonna step on stage. Like you're kind of waiting off stage, the music is pumping, you hear the crowd. What I like to do is like when I start hearing the music, it's like, okay, I start playing mind games with myself and I just start dancing to it and just having fun, as opposed to sitting there and letting it kind of like boil up and get nervous. And I try to take control of it and own the excitement and own the energy and make it yours, so that when you come on stage, you are just shining, right? You're glowing, you're excited to be there, you're excited to show off your hard work. And so those are kind of tricks that I do. Like as soon as I start hearing the music, I'm dancing back there, I'm having fun, I'm smiling, like trick your body, trick your mind, you know? Because I have a lot of bikini girls that follow me, I definitely get a lot of questions about the bikini division, what to expect, how it's judged, all those kinds of things. When does bikini go on? Bikini is almost always last. I've never seen it at a show not be last, regardless of the federation. So bikini always goes last. We close out the show. And so just be prepared that typically for us in this division, it's a long day, right? It's a little bit long. How is bikini judged? Bikini is not for the faint of heart, let me tell you what. Probably one of the more subjective categories, because you are judged on overall balance of your physique. So from top to bottom, you don't have too overpowering of an upper body versus a lower body or vice versa. So your whole physique is balanced. They look more for shape. So like that overall hourglass shape is a lot of what they are looking for in terms of how your physique is presented. They want full, round, developed muscles, but nothing is like chiseled, hard, grainy, conditioned, like too lean. It is like that plump, pretty, round, bubbly muscle. We are also judged on our overall presentation in bikini. And so that is things like your hair, your makeup, your skin tone, how your tan looks, the color of your bikini, believe it or not, like how it complements your skin tone, your hair. Does it contrast and pop enough against your tan? All those things are taken into account from a overall presentation standpoint, and your beauty flow as it relates to like your posing routine. It's not like bodybuilding where it's like the biggest, leanest, most symmetrical person wins. In bikini, it's more, is she fit in the category with her shape and her physique? What's her beauty flow? What's her posing look like? Is her physique balanced, and does it fit within this category? The cool thing about that is that bikini is extremely inclusive. Like every kind of structure can do well within bikini if you build it the correct way for what the division's looking for. The hard thing about that though is that it's an any given Sunday division for us. So that means that one day it could be your day and the next day it could be somebody else's. So it is a hard division, but if you build your physique to fit within the category, then it's extremely open and it's like there for the taking by anybody. Okay, so bikini posing and mandatories. So bikini has basically two mandatory poses. It's our front pose and our back pose. That's it. It's not like wellness, where wellness has like their side poses on each side. Bikini is just front pose, transition to back pose. When you do your individual, you're usually allotted like 20 to 30 seconds for your individual routine. So that's enough time for you to go out on stage, hit your front pose, and then transition, hit to your back pose, transition again, back into your front pose, and sign off. That is typically a 20 to 30 second time frame, and then you're off waiting in the wings to come on and do your mandatories. Again, mandatories are just front pose, transition to back pose, and that's all we got. Also, technically not judged on your bikini walk to the back, but a lot of judges use that for identifying glute fullness. If somebody's too lean, they're using that to look for like striations in the glutes or the hamstrings, things like that. So I would definitely recommend not only practicing your individual routine, I think it's more important for you to practice your stage, like your posing conditioning, so holding your poses, specifically your front and your back, and then it would not hurt to practice your walk to the back. That was so much information. I really hope it was helpful. There's so much information out there just about how to prepare for show days and things like that. So if you guys want like a show day weekend, like what to pack, how to prepare for things, put your questions below in the comments. Any additional questions you have about summer shredding in general, I'd be happy to help. I am actually going to be at a couple of these events, and so I would love to meet anybody that is going to be there competing or just spectating. Again, the best part about this entire league is the community, and I could just harp on that all day long. So if you see me, grab me. I will be at the September show as well as the championship show, there to support you guys. So I hope you guys have an amazing prep. Remember, you are freaking strong. Prep is hard. It is not for the faint of heart, and you never know how hard you can push until you actually do it. So give yourself the opportunity to see how hard you can actually give something. Give it your 110%. Leave it all on the gym floor. Leave no macro, no crumb. I will be there to celebrate with you post-show. All right? So happy for you guys. So proud of you guys. Hopefully this helped, and talk to you soon.